What's up, you guys? It's finally time to do a prep update. I'm sorry it's taken me so long to get to this point. Long story short, there's just a lot of moving pieces in my life amongst prep. So I didn't really feel like setting my camera up and then dealing with all the footage and yeah. So here we are. I'm recording on my phone camera in a more nonchalant environment. My cats are in a crazy mood, so I'm sorry if they are distracting, and I know the background is not all that beautiful. I have my ring light out from Friday's posing session and yada yada yada. But I figured you would appreciate me putting something out there rather than continuing to put it off. And there's a fly in here. Oh my gosh. My cats are gonna go crazy. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. I have been keeping a prep diary just to, one, so I would remember what I wanted to say to you guys, but also it's good for me to be able to look back on it and like I did it last prep and it's really helped me because now I can look back and see how I felt, and it helps me to deal with those emotions a little bit better and be like, okay, this is normal, we can get through this type of thing. But we're gonna go ahead and talk about mood, energy levels, gym performance, and I'll get into a few other tidbits here. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that I missed and you want to know, and I will get to it eventually. Starting off strong, I came off of a deload prior to my first week of prep, and I don't think I realized at the time how fried my CNS actually was. I had pushed myself to the limits severely, being so excited about starting prep, which kind of forced me into that deload. And it wasn't ideal, but it did slow me down a bit coming into prep. I think I was excited about a new mesocycle. So that first week, that's the only thing that got me through my gym performance, but I kind of want to start with my mood and my energy levels and all that. So we'll go ahead and touch base on that first. Like I said, I was riding a high and I was super excited, and then that's one thing. And then actually settling into a calorie deficit, whole nother story. I remember hopping on my Instagram story and being like, I feel great first day, and then literally day two I was like wait a minute. So yeah, but the reassuring part of that is I do remember last prep, the first 3 weeks being the hardest part of prep. Personally for me, I think the beginning of prep is the hardest because you're doing all the work and you're not seeing any of the results yet. I think the rule of thumb is like it takes 3 weeks for you to start to notice change, 6 weeks for your close family and friends to notice change, and then 8 weeks for everyone else. So yeah, that's just kind of a testament to how I was feeling mentally. Mentally, I will say I think that this prep has been harder on me, speaking of which, because I am sitting at a heavier weight than I was last prep, but my coach has been really reassuring in that we put on good weight in the off season, and that's why it's so important to take your check-in pictures, because we've been able to look at last prep compared to this prep and see that I'm a completely different athlete and I'm holding a lot more muscle versus fat. So it's just a mental game. So to recap, week one was kind of a roller coaster of emotions. I was dealing with some fatigue. I was settling into a deficit. I was struggling with some more life stressors than usual. Energy levels kind of go hand in hand with mood. Week one, it was rough. I will say that the bright side of week one was the scale instantly dropped like 3 or 4 pounds, but it was bittersweet because week two, the scale kind of stalled out. So that was hard on me. And then before I forget, our first cut was 350 calories. Finally, to recap gym performance in week one, I was coming off of a deload, struggling, but excited and motivated because I was starting prep and a new mesocycle, and it slowly got better. Now let's get into week two. Week two, surprisingly, was worse than week one, and I'm kind of ashamed to say that, but I'm just gonna be real with you. Mood was bad. We had our first mental breakdown week two. I almost quit, and that was due to being so thrown off by the scale, you guys, which is terrible. And I'm pretty sure at the time I was on my cycle, so that's just bad. The scale is data, my girls listening to this. It is not going to change drastically within 2 weeks, which I should know better. to kind of caveat off of that, energy was same thing. It was worse week 2. I was on my cycle. It was horrible. And I'm really proud of myself that I got through that because it was a mental storm. I will say, surprisingly though, week 2, my gym performance did get better. I don't know if that's because I was hazing myself or bullying myself into like, we're gonna do this prep, we're gonna get it together. But it worked because my numbers increased, my reps increased. So that was the one good note of week 2. Week 3, the sun was shining. It finally came out in a little rainbow bloom. Do you know what I'm saying? I started to get it together. I started to figure out balance. And another thing that I haven't touched on yet was I got my sleep schedule together. I don't know if like I was struggling because of the drop in calories or the extra energy expenditure, but within the first 3 weeks, I was really struggling with my sleep. And side note, my company Uprising, they sent me something called Descend caps, and my sleep was instantly cured. If you struggle with sleep, highly recommend them. The link is in my bio. So that was a huge factor in kind of figuring out my balance. My mood and energy levels increased week 3. I think it's always kind of like that when it takes about 2 weeks to settle into a deficit. So every time we drop calories, I always have a little bit of a rough time, but that rough time gets shorter as prep gets longer. I start to deal with it better. So gym performance week 3 was phenomenal. I started to get into a groove, and I'm happy to say I am now coming up on my menstrual cycle again. Not to be TMI, but I am in a good place, and we can look at the data from me just recording my workouts and stuff, and I am PRing at this point still, and we're about to end this mesocycle. So that's a very good sign and exciting for you guys because that means I'm gonna have a whole new series of movements and exercises soon coming out on YouTube for you, and very excited for that. Let's talk about hunger and nutrition. Something that is absolutely wild to me is the starting calories this prep compared to my starting calories last prep. I was like starving myself when I started my last prep. I was only eating 1,800 calories a day, so we had to cut from that last prep, which is insane. That's not a lot to cut from if you know anything about calories and macros. During this prep, we have been able to cut from like 2,500 to 2,700 calories. So I'm getting a lot more food than I was last prep. And I'm leaner and I'm a little bit more full. I'm getting better results from that in my physique. So that's awesome. Nutrition has been going pretty well. Hunger hasn't been too crazy yet, but I have a feeling we are about to get another cut in calories. My current calories in week 6, 7, like 6.5 are at, well, my macros, I don't know where my calories are, but my macros are 160 grams of protein, 150 grams of carbs, and 45 grams of fat currently. Before we move on, that also reminds me, my first 4 weeks of prep, I was doing 30 minutes of cardio, or no, my first 3 weeks I was doing 30 minutes of cardio 4 times a week. Week 4 we started 30 minutes 6 times a week, and now we are at 40. This is like starting week 6, we are at 40 minutes of cardio 6 days a week. So unlike week 1, 2, and 3, I'm kind of just gonna break up my mood, energy level, gym performance recap into the first half and second half. Looking at the second half of prep, mood, energy, gym performance has all been wonderful. Now that I'm starting to see results and other people have noticed results and said things to me, it's easy to be motivated. Now it's just a matter of time. I'm gonna go ahead and answer a few questions that I got asked about my prep update through an Instagram story. Someone was asking me about my posing routine. This is crazy, but for my first show, I just wung it. Like, my coach coached me as much as she could virtually, but she's not a posing coach. Not to say that she doesn't know what she's talking about, because she absolutely does. But I just watched a lot of YouTube videos and practice, and it paid off. But that is not something I'm willing to do for a national show. So I have committed to a professional posing coach, Amy Lee on Instagram. She's absolutely amazing. We've only had 1 session, and my posing has totally changed, and I feel very confident in it this go around versus last time. That's actually a good way to break into this next question. Someone asked me, how is this prep different from the last? There are several reasons why it's different. I will say a major difference is that this one is more important to me. My first prep was kind of like let's just see how this goes type thing, and that's not to say that, you know, bodybuilding has become a job for me, but it is more serious this time around. Obviously, I want to get my pro card, and I know what it takes to get there. Also, this is my last show was a regional show. This is I've qualified now to compete nationally, so the competition is going to be more fierce. That's just a fact. So that brings another element of seriousness to it, and making sure that, you know, everything is in check. I'm checking my boxes every single day. I'm doing everything within my power to win. Also, I will say I think that this prep means more to me because of what I've gone through mentally this prep. It's been a lot harder. I know I said that earlier. So I will be significantly more proud of myself, I think, coming out of this one, regardless of the results, and will continue on in the sport. That's pretty much all I have for this update. Like I said, let me know if you have any questions. I've kind of gotten away from the questions you guys originally asked me in my Instagram story when I was like, what do you guys want to know prep update wise? So yeah, just go ahead and ask away, and I will make sure within the next like 3 weeks get another one of these out there. And now that I have a posing coach, I'm going to start putting posing videos out there because I'm feeling a lot more confident in that. Also, in this video, I'm wearing Gym Reaper's new 4th Crusader drop hoodie, which is, it's one of those hoodies that hoodies, you know what I mean? It's not like overwhelmingly hot inside. It's not fleece lined. I can't stand fleece lined sweatshirts. It's like bearable to wear in the spring and fall, and obviously in the summer too. And my little cap by them, so make sure you check that out. As always, code Amber saves you 10%. I love you so much. Thank you so much for all the support you guys show me. It is truly heartwarming, and I cannot believe some of just the uplifting words that you've shared with me. And even like I've had people sending me stuff on my Amazon wish list, and my heart is just so full. So thank you again so much for watching, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Mwah.